morning, boys and ghouls. How's everyone doing today? Happy Wednesday. Everyone's having a fantastic day. Happy hump day. Halfway through this week. Got 2 more days after today, and then we got vacation. So we're off for a week, guys. So let's just finish this week strong. Okay. So we ended off last class with the Grand Canyon. Now we're going to a different Grand National Park. It's the Grand Teton National Park. This one's another long one. It's got 14 different locations, one probably being the visitor center. But we're going to start off with Willow Flats Overlook. So this is a national park in Wyoming. So a scenic spot with wide vistas of flat wild grazing areas, Jackson Lake, and the jagged Teton Range. So that by Teton Range, they mean this mountain range. It's a very flat area, relatively flat, a bunch of grazing area for animals. Next, we have Signal Mountain, isolated 7,720-foot high summit in Grand Teton National Park with an observation area and a hiking trail. That would be quite a hike. This guy looks like he's very gassed after hiking up that mountain. I would be too. Don't blame him. That's a nice view. Kind of cool how the trees grow and then there's open space. Cool. So I'm not sure why there isn't a picture or it didn't load. Not sure. But this is Cathedral Group Turnout. It's a scenic overlook featuring a wide view of the towering pyramidal peaks called the Cathedral Group. So similar to Teton Range, this is just another mountain range that you can get a good view of from here. Looks like something out of Red Dead Redemption 2. Great game, by the way. And there's the Jenny Lake Visitor Center. Woo! Everyone's favorite spot. So it is the Grand Teton National Park Visitor Center, open May to September, offering maps, ranger programs, and camping information. So I do believe that there's camping around that lake that we just saw, which is Jenny Lake. Next up is the Menors Ferry Historic District. So this building dates back to the 19th century, plus a replica of Menors Ferry, once important for Snake River crossing. So before there was a lot of bridges and roads out in this area, because remember, Wyoming's way out west. So it wasn't as built up as early as our area was, the Northeast. So ferries would bring different products across the river to and from. I'm not sure what they used to bring over. Personally, maybe cattle. Not really sure. But yeah. So Snake River. Next, the Chapel of Transfiguration. It's a 1925 log chapel, well known for the view of Teton's tallest peaks through its altar window. So it's just a really old building that's kind of all 1925s. Quite a ways away, nearly 100 years old, and made out of wood. So I'm surprised it's actually lasted that long. Another visitor center, Craig Thomas's Discovery and Visitor Center. Just another, tells you about the natural history of the area. Stuff like that. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Schwaberger's Landing. It's a Snake River scenic area with views of the jagged Teton peaks, often reflected in the water. So as you can see, that is the mirror image of the Teton peaks. So this is the Snake River. This is just a location on the Snake River. Everyone taking their pictures. Take only pictures, leave only footprints. Next is the Snake River Overlook, famously photographed by photographer Ansel Adams. Don't know who that is, but it's an iconic view of the Teton peaks rising beyond a bend in the river. So as you can tell, a lot of these areas are just locations where you can see beautifulness, and then 10 peaks in the back of that make it even more beautiful. Very scenic, which is the way a lot of these national parks are. Number 10 on this list, we have the Oxbow Bend. It's a viewpoint taking a wildlife-rich river bend in Mount Moraine, often reflected in the water. So this is what you'd call an oxbow. So where the river comes down and takes a big sharp turn and curves back. Obviously over the years this is broken up. But at one point the river was bending, and then it broke. So instead of the water taking this big turn, it's been cutting through here slowly. So that causes a oxbow. So Oxbow Lake. So over time, that area will turn into something like this, where it keeps turning and turning and turning. Eventually the river diverts and leaves. So it has this big curve in it, and eventually this gets broken down so much that it actually ends up breaking off, and it's just left as a lake. See how that works? So that's what eventually will happen at that location. Or it's starting to actually happen. So this is another part near Jenny Lake. This is another trail, so it's a 7.1 mile long trail around Jenny Lake, plus other lakeside hikes, including Hidden Falls. So Jenny Lake looks like a very scenic view. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's probably not too bad of a hike because it says it goes around the lake, so probably fairly flat for those new hikers. Next up is the Hidden Falls. Popular waterfall, dramatic cascading, most easily reached via a boat shuttle plus a short hike. So probably there's a ferry that'll bring you over, or a boat shuttle that'll bring you over through the lake, and then you walk over to this area. Again, that is a beautiful view. Second to last on this is the inspiration point. So hopefully this inspires you all to want to get into hiking and or just get outdoors. So it's a hiking route climbing through a craggy, I don't know what craggy means, alpine landscape to broad vistas of Jenny Lake. So this is almost like you're hiking in the Teton Mountains to a degree, although they are way over to this way. That's the peaks. But again, a nice view of the lake. And last but not least on this list is the Lake Solitude. So it's a natural lake in the Grand Teton National Park, attracting both hikers and backpackers for its scenery. So this is obviously a picture when it was wintertime, unlike most of actually, maybe not wintertime. Yeah, probably wintertime. Yeah, that's just a little island in the middle of the lake, it looks like. Lake Solitude. Pretty gorgeous. Pretty gorgeous. But that's all we got for today. So everyone, I hope you have a great Wednesday. Let's get through Thursday and Friday as quickly as possible so we can go ahead and, you know it, have a good day off, or good week off. See you, everyone.
Hey Gators! Welcome to Chef Lemay's kitchen. Today we are going to be making some Asian spring rolls. Alright, these are fresh. These aren't the fried spring rolls you might have had at the Chinese restaurant, but that's what we're going to be making today. Alright, so Miss Fairburn, hope you don't mind me jumping in for a little bit, but we're going to do a little healthy snacking. Alright, so here are the ingredients that we need. Today we're going to make a roast pork one. So I got one of these pre-made, pre-marinated porks. This is very important. This is the rice paper. Alright, and you guys are going to see how that comes together later. But you can find this in the Asian food aisle at Market Basket. Okay? We're going to use a broccoli slaw. You can make your own, but I like buying it pre-made because it's easy. And then some leafy greens. You can use spinach, you can use arugula. I use what's called power greens for healthiness. Alright? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cook our pork. Alright, so what we're going to do is I have this pan right here, and we're going to spray it down with a little bit of cooking spray. There we go. And now we're going to add the pork. Okay? So just take the pork right out of the package, and we're going to put it down right. Come on, pork. There you go. Now, the beauty of making these spring rolls is that you can literally use any meat you want. I'm going to use a roast pork, but a lot of times you can just use leftovers. So if your family made chicken, there's leftover chicken, shred some up, put it in your spring roll. Extra beef, shred it up, put it in your spring roll. All right, it's a very universal dish. All right, let's put this in the oven. So we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about a half hour. All right, so we'll just toss it on in, and in about a half hour we'll come back and she'll be ready. All right, we are getting everything prepped. I got the lettuce out and ready. I'm ready to cut into that pork. She looks delicious. I got my broccoli slaw in a bowl, and I have my package of rice paper open, and the secret sauce. All right, the Thai chili sauce. That's what brings it all together. The best stuff in the world. So, I'm gonna cut up this pork, and then we are going to get to the assembly line. All right, here we go. So, you can see I have cut the pork. Now, I'm gonna switch out my cutting board and get myself a wok. Now the wok just serves as a basically a water holder. This is where I'm gonna activate the rice paper. So rice paper has to be activated because when it's stored, it's actually kind of really hard and like a piece of paper. But when you activate it in water, it softens right up. So I'm going to get my rice paper out and ready to go. And I'm going to set up the factory here. All right? Don't have to fill it. You just get enough to basically submerge the rice paper. So I'm going to fill this wok probably about halfway or so. So I'm going to put the rice paper in the water. All right, let it soak for about a minute, maybe less. The general rule of thumb is however long it takes you to assemble one spring roll is how long the rice paper needs to be in the water. So I actually learned all this when I was in Vietnam 2 summers ago. I took a cooking class in Vietnam. So I actually learned it from a Vietnamese chef who taught me how to make all this. Obviously, they had a few different ingredients, different style, but the idea is the same. So I'm going to check our rice paper. A little flip here. You can see it's already getting pretty well saturated, which is good. I keep a paper towel right here for my fingers because you don't want your hands soaking wet because you're going to have to roll it, almost like burrito style. All right, so that's how we do it. While I'm waiting for that to finish, I'm going to get my next rice paper out and ready so that way I can just keep putting them in the water. All right, so this should be ready. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And put the next one in. The next one will be ready. So you can see how flimsy it is now. So I lay it out on a cutting board. Okay. First, put down some greens. Put them right in the middle. Okay. Next, we go with the broccoli slaw. And then we take 2 pieces of the pork or whatever protein you choose. All right. And then you take one end, flip it all in, kind of bunch it together. If you've ever wrapped a burrito, it's kind of the same way. Flip both sides in, and then you roll. And the wet rice paper binds it together. Okay? And there you go. We have one spring roll. All right? So I am going to make a bunch of these so that we can enjoy them for lunches. And I add the rice paper to the water for the next one. All right, so we're going to repeat the process. Gonna take a handful of greens, some broccoli slaw. Really try and keep it in the middle of the rice paper. It makes rolling a lot easier. 2 slices of the protein. And scoop it under. You flip. Flip. And roll. There you go. It's spring rolls. It's a beautiful thing. All right, Gators, I'm going to keep making a bunch of these, but I'm going to let you guys go. And what you do, after your spring rolls are ready, you pour a little of the Asian sauce on there and enjoy. All right. Thanks for letting me cook with you guys. We'll see you soon. Hey, Gators. Welcome back to Language and Play. And today we are going to be talking about our final scene for our Mythological Beings play, Scene 4. Okay? Scene 4 is the falling action or the resolution of the play. This is where you wrap everything up, all right? This last scene is after the climax, after that big moment where the protagonist and the antagonist collide, all right? And this is how the play resolves itself. It can have a happy ending. It doesn't have to have a happy ending. It's totally up to you. But this is the ending of the play. All right, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And I am going to go, whoops, I scrolled down way too much. My bad. And I'm going to go to Scene 4. All right, and you can see I said Scene 4 at 7 o'clock a.m. The last scene happened at midnight. All right, so that tells you there's been a period of time between Scene 3 and Scene 4. The place stayed the same, all right? So different time, but the place stayed the same. You're still in little Jomar's bedroom, all right? At Rise, little Jomar is sitting at the edge of the bed with the boogeyman sitting by his side. That's a lot different because remember how scared he was of the boogeyman before. So we know something had to have happened in Scene 3 between the boogeyman and the Sandman, all right? And the Sandman is at the window. So this time I'm going to start off my dialogue with little Jomar starting to talk. All right? I'm so glad the nightmares will be over now. All right? So that's referring to what happened in Scene 3. You want to have continuation of ideas, but at the same time, each scene has to have somewhat of a different event. All right? Something has to be happening in the scene that the characters are talking about. In this case, the Boogeyman and Sandman have put their differences aside and are now going to work together to help the children that they serve. Okay? So that's basically where we're at, and these will be due on Friday. All right? So all 4 scenes will be due. So by the end of this, you should have a 4 to 8 page play. All right? Remember, you're double-spaced, you're talking in dialogue. It's not like you're writing 8 pages of paragraphs. All right? But you have to have it meaningful. Each scene has to have meaningful dialogue. All right? The characters' words are what extend scene to scene to scene. All right? So, Gators, can't wait to see what you come up with. Great job. And tomorrow, we'll be talking about editing and revising a little bit. And then these plays are going to be due on Friday. All right? Can't wait to see what you come up with, Gators. Nice job.
Hi guys. So this is the second part to the Victor Nunez project. So remember, he's the Brazilian artist that's known and famous for combining his illustrations with everyday objects that he found just around his house. So what I want you guys to do, hopefully you already made a few sketches with the objects that you found around your house, but now I want you to just choose one of the objects that you had, that you used with your other illustrations, and I want to see how many different ways you can use your object in a drawing. So let's see. I'm going to start out with doing this. Oops. Mine's going to start rolling away. No, don't roll away. You're part of my art. Okay. So I'm trying to make it look like a bowl of fruit, and I don't want my object to roll away. I want it to look like it's part of my drawing. So I'm just going to try to draw some other types of fruits with maybe an orange. So you want to choose one of the objects that you already used, and this time use that same one object as many times as you can in a drawing. So for example, here my object is a piece of fruit in a bowl of fruit. But I can also completely change what it is, what the object is. So this time, same object could be a basketball. So you could just do some sketches, some simple drawings using your object, and see how many different ways you can use your object. So it's an interactive kind of a thing where you're using everyday objects with your illustrations. Okay, so now it's a basketball. Now it's a nose. Your drawings don't have to be super detailed. You can just keep them super simple sketches, quick little sketches where you're incorporating your object into the drawing, just like Victor Nunez. But this time, use the same object, one object, and see how many different ways you can incorporate it into an illustration. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about Victor Nunez. Can't wait to see your drawings.
Thanks for watching Enrichment TV, Gators. Remember, work hard, be nice, and we'll see you tomorrow.